Hey everyone, welcome back. So now that we're a few videos in, I was actually proposed a question. I know, big shocker, right? And the question basically was, okay, what do I do if I can't afford to buy my own gym equipment, if I can't get out because of the whole lockdown thing, or I just can't afford gym membership in general, and basically have nothing to work out with? What would you do? That's a very good question and a very valid point considering the way the situations are these days. So that's what we're going to cover today, is that what would I do if I didn't have all this? Okay, so we get it. You know, there's a lot of people at work right now. Money is extremely tight. It's one of those things where it's like, that's just the way life happens. Even if there was no pandemic going on, we still might be facing, hardships. It's just part of life. So basically, so what if I didn't have the equipment I currently have? How would I still work out? Well, basically, I would pretty much still stick with the program that I currently have. Instead of increasing weights, though, I'd probably just increase my reps until I could find something. So basically, I would just simply start off with some shadow boxing. Shadow boxing is a really efficient way, in my opinion, to build your heart rate up and such like that, and to also get some of the joints loose for your workout. I enjoy doing things like shadow boxing, punching bags, and such like that, because I think it's a lost art, in my personal opinion. It was boxing was relatively popular somewhat in the 80s, in the 70s, due to people like Mike Tyson, Muhammad Ali, but it really kind of fell the way of the wayside with MMA and professional wrestling and everything else like that. But I've always had a love for boxing. I actually was trained for boxing. I just never had the opportunity to actually compete, which to this day still bothers me, but it is what it is, So the second thing I go to is that I would continue to work on my core by doing the leg raises. Now, this is a very difficult exercise. When I first started out, I really had such a hard time maintaining form, making sure I can go at a nice even pace, and the hardest thing, and something I'm still struggling with, is being able to breathe while you're doing this exercise. It's difficult. For those who may not be able to do something like this, you could do something like instead of raising your legs, bring your knees in instead. But I think one of the most important parts of this exercise is to make sure that when you're done, don't put your feet immediately on the ground. Hold them for like 1 or 2 seconds before you release. Then it goes into the actual workout of the the chest and the back. Chest and the back, you can never go wrong with the push-up. The push-up is probably one of the most tried and true methods when it comes to exercising your chest and your shoulders and your arms. I really have nothing really negative to say. Just make sure that you can make sure your back is constantly straight, especially if you're not used to doing them. It's one of the hardest things to do because you'll start to hunch over or lower your back or lower your rear end or something like that. This is one of those cases where form is crucial to learn the form before you start increasing your reps. Once you're able to knock out 10, maybe 15 solid push-ups, then you can start looking into increasing your reps. The next thing would be your back. Now this is a little bit more difficult because of the simple fact that without weights it's kind of difficult to do. So the research that I did, one of the biggest things that was recommended was something called the Superman. Honestly, I personally don't get it. Maybe somebody out there does get it, and you can provide more information down in the comments below. I don't know, but supposedly this is the best exercise when it comes to working the back. My form is probably not going to be perfect, but basically once you raise up and you bring your arms back, you're supposed to hold for like 1 to 2 seconds and then release. Basically give your back a good squeeze. But supposedly that's how it's done. As far as the lower back, again, it's kind of difficult to do without actual weights around, but you have another one that was recommended was something called the mule kick, or I'm sorry, the crane, in which you kind of hold your hands up above your head and you lower them all down, kind of like you're touching your toes, except one of your legs you're going to throw back as you come down. This requires some balance, as you can see. So in cases like this, for people like me who can't maintain their balance all that great, I see no problem using a chair to help bring your leg up and to maintain your balance. Again, I'm not a professional. This is just what's works for me. Afterwards, then, it's time for my cool down, in which I'll go ahead and I'll just end everything with flutter kicks. The military was big on flutter kicks when I was in, and I find it does help. It does help a lot. It's one of the easiest core exercises to do, but at the same time, though, especially if you're not used to doing them, it can be one of the most difficult to maintain. Now, the way I do it is I just do, let's see, I think I'm up to 14 flutter kicks per round, and that's probably usually not the best way to go. People usually set like a timer for themselves, like they'll do flutter kicks for 30 seconds or 45 seconds or 1 minute and with a minute rest. Unfortunately, in the position I'm in, I don't have access to a real timer that I can keep an eye on and such like that, and still focus on the flutter kick. So take that information and do with it as you can. If you have a partner there that can hold a stopwatch, hey, all power to you. All I know is that this has actually been helping my core. When I was doing the leg raises, like I said, when I first started, I barely could get them. Now I'm hardly struggling at all. Doesn't mean that I'm perfect at it, but I think next month I'm definitely going to be increasing my rep. And then finally comes the last exercise, which is simply walking. You guys, I don't think you guys need a demonstration of walking. It's something most of us have been doing most of our lives. And so it's like, that's the reason I'm not including it in this video tonight. But overall, that's my suggestions on how to put together a chest and back workout for those who do not have access to gyms or equipment. When it comes to the back, I mean, for all intents and purposes, no matter where you go, there's always going to be something around that's of relative weight that you can use to do deadlifts with. a bag of salt, cat litter, something, that would help out in the long run. Again, it's up to you. This is, in times like this is when you have to start being a little creative, do a little research, and go from there. All right, well then I guess that's going to be it for this segment. If you have any questions or comments or suggestions, please drop them down in the comments below. I'd love to read them. And please, 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 please like, share, subscribe, repeat. Let's get this channel up and going. I would really appreciate it. I want this channel to be an inspiration to everybody who wants to start working out. And unfortunately, it seems to be a common YouTube ending. So that's it for me this week. Until next time, guys, fire it up.